You know, living off grid. Living off grid and being off grid and whatever they want to call all of it, whatever it is not something that you do overnight. It's not, oh, you get this epiphany and you're going to go out in the forest and you're just going to live out there and, you know, the deer and everything are going to come up and anyway, or you're going to have your own little homestead that you control all the life and everything on it, the land, the soil, the water, because you can be the king of your own place and you don't want anybody else to come there and mess with you. Either way it goes, it's not something you're going to do and do comfortably instantaneously. You don't know what's going to what will allow you to be comfortable, and how comfortable you get with change. If you're going to move and live off grid with a partner of some kind, you really want to know that you like this person, not just love them. You want to know that you like them, that you like what they do, how they do, even when they stink. You want to know that you like that in a way. I mean, that you're okay with that. I know I'm being rude, but man, these biscuits, these bacon and eggs, biscuits, gravy, these bacon and eggs are good this morning. I've always lived outdoors to a big degree. Been outdoors, worked outdoors. The last 10 years that I worked, let me back up a second. From the time I was a fairly young adult until now, I have actually had in my possession some kind of a camper. Whether it was pull behind, sit in the back of a truck, motorhome. So I was already accustomed to some differences in lifestyles. But just staying in a camper or a campground is real different than living off grid, man. Most campgrounds have every amenity that you could find anywhere. I mean, in a hotel, motel. And honestly, why you want to pull a massive, big-ass 48-foot trailer to a campground and stay, I'm not really sure why. Especially if you're only going to stay for a week or two and then pull the thing back home 1,000 miles. It just doesn't make a lot of sense to me, but that's everybody teach their own. But even that, you do get some acclimatization to adjustment in life. I mean, you really do. So to adjust to then staying, and I did a lot the last several years I stayed in campers a lot because I did disaster relief work and concessions. So that again, it helped in the transition. But still, even with all that, going off grid completely is a transformation that takes time. You don't just instantly go from paying your electric bill every month to making sure your electricity's on every month. There's a difference. You don't go from paying your water bill every month to making sure you have water every month. Things like that. In fact, it gets it down into a microcosm. You don't make sure you pay the gas bill every month. You make sure you have whatever it takes to heat your home for that month or week or whatever it might be, however you decide to set it up. But it's a real different mental game. and a real different physical game, because no matter how you do it, you still have to produce heat, for instance, in the wintertime. Somehow you have to stay warm. Somehow you have to drink water and take a bath occasionally anyway. You have to drink a lot of water, but you have to take a bath occasionally anyway. And somehow you have to be able to do these things. You have to be able to cook, for the most part. Light. You need some light sometimes. All these things you have to, it's all things that I've been out here 10 years. So it's second nature to me. If this is not working, I go to plan B, backup plan A, or whatever it might be. But I always have things going on. There's always ways around every single possibility. I'm telling you, man, no matter what happens, don't panic. That's the last thing you want to do is panic. You don't get upset. You don't get excited. You don't go screaming off that you ain't got the electricity's out. Give you an example. Back in May, 6 months ago, in other words, 7 months ago or whatever, a young person was out here, and they were having, some people were out, a family actually, and they were having a weekend thing, but a young person came out that said they knew how to ride a small motorcycle, but they really didn't, so they crashed into my solar panels and broke two of them. And I didn't even realize for some time that this had happened until I realized when I went out one day to check on my battery bank. I'm down at like a little bit below battery voltage, and I was like, well, okay, so we checked this out. Well, anyway, as it turns out, my batteries had not been charged for days. They were still hanging in there. But then it turned around, see, don't panic, because then it took literally months, if you will, to get everything back up to where it was functioning at 100% the capacity. It took time to recharge all the batteries. It took time to do everything, man, I'm telling you. But don't panic. You work the problem. You work this piece, then that piece, and then, okay, and once I got the solar panels up and running, guess what? The solar controller decided to fry itself because I'm pushing it so hard, and it wasn't used to that. Fortunately, I had a backup, a spare. There you go. I had a spare. Not as good a one, but a spare that I could actually charge the batteries with. That's where you're at. You go from one plan to another plan. And then if push comes to shove, literally, I don't need the solar panels. I don't. They are the thing that I acquiesce to modern life with. They give me leeway at night in lighting, for instance. That if I want bright light, I can, working on something, a project or something, I could use those lights. I mean, I could probably do it with lamps, but why? Anyway, I'm done eating now, so I'm done boring you guys. I'll talk to you later. Have a great day.